Welcome back, Warriors. It is so good to be speaking with you again after such a long break since my last episode. It's been over a year. Now, I never originally intended for there to be such a huge pause since episode 20 came out last year, but life happens, so here we are. Now, a lot has happened in the past year, to say the least, not only in the world at large, but even in my own home. So we moved, I switched my day job, my family welcomed another beautiful girl into our lives. So I now have 4 daughters, very busy. And I wrote a book, which is actually going to be published in just a few days on April 11th. So I'm pretty excited about that. Stay tuned on all my social platforms for the announcement on that one and the links. So it's been a pretty crazy and exciting ride this last year. But like I often say, everything is impermanent, including the podcast hiatus, right? It too needed to end. It was time for me to come back and speak with you again and share almost my newfound light on and view of the world. Because I've changed personally and internally. I've changed a lot. I've done a lot of work in the last year. And I'm a very different man than I was a year ago, which is pretty cool looking back and seeing that. Just how issues and adversity and problems can actually shape you into someone different. And I like to think that I'm a better version of myself today than I was. So here I am, back at it, full tilt, full swing, full speed ahead, Captain, because that is what we need right now. Some fucking energy, right? So in preparation for the Warrior Way podcast, hopefully triumphant return to your listening pleasure, I went back and listened intently to every single episode that I've previously released. And I had one question in mind the entire time I was doing that. And that was, how can I do this better? So I went over a lot in the last 20 episodes. We did cover a lot of different topics. I had a couple really amazing, wonderful guests on, and we got really in depth in a lot of things on those episodes. But I wanted to revisit some. So the next couple episodes I'm going to be revisiting some of these subjects, some of these topics, and shining some new perspective on it, maybe trying to put it in a different way, a little bit more energy behind it, and I am going to also be committing to a slightly longer format than what I've done previously. As you are all aware, if you've been following along, most of my solo episodes, as the ones without a guest, tend to fall more in like the 5-minute range. I'm going to try to give you guys a lot more content, a lot longer episodes, and that's my commitment to you, because there's so much to say on any subject, and it's impossible for me to cover anything in 5 minutes. It's also impossible for me to cover everything myself, which is why I will be having a whole bunch of special guests for you guys over the next year or two of this podcast as well. So, looking back on previous episodes, I'm just popping up my notes here, because like I said, I can't remember everything. So I went through a few things. So we talked a lot about how, like I said, everything is impermanent, and how delaying gratification can actually be very beneficial. We talked about your superpower, and that's your reticular activating system. Talked about how you define yourself and the words you use to describe who you are as a person. We talked about consuming knowledge, consuming media, consuming gossip, consuming non-food items, and how that actually makes up a huge part of who you are, as much as your food does. We also talked about finding your purpose, about fear, about anxiety, about being happy, about your value, about vibrating higher. We went over a lot of topics in the last 20 episodes. And this is going to be a fun ride, coming back from, like I said, new perspective. One major thing that I really, really need to talk about today, and I wanted to kind of make it the primary focus of today's episode, and it's a new topic. It's not one, I might have touched on it in previous episodes, but it's not one I've really gone into in detail. And that is knowing that you truly, deeply, in your deepest heart, knowing that you are good enough, exactly the way you are. I mean, out there, we get bombarded every single day with marketing for the latest fitness club, the latest energy drink, the latest diet fad, the latest energy bar, cereal, food, all of it telling us that we can be better. And I'm not even going into all the superficial things like the ridiculous perfume and cologne ads that I never know what they're trying to say, but they have some actor or actress just strutting their stuff in a completely unrelated situation, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, buy this fragrance. And we have clothing companies do the same thing. We have car companies who do the same thing. You're not cool unless you drive the Jaguar, right? Well, it's a lot. So in our mind, we're always saying, oh, well, I don't have that cologne. I don't have that perfume. I don't have that Jaguar. I don't eat that cereal. I don't go to that gym. I don't wear those clothes. Maybe I'm not enough. And then we hop on social media to get a break from reality. And what do? We see more of the same stuff. We hop on Instagram and we see everybody in their perfect lives, because nobody posts the bad stuff on Instagram, right? Everyone posts the perfect Instagram-worthy photos. It's always people beside Mercedes-Benz, super yachts, hanging out on the beach with their perfect beach bodies that they pretend that they haven't worked hard on. That's all we see. All we see is success, happiness, and we see the haves, not the have-nots. Now that can weigh very heavy on someone's mind. It can weigh very heavy on your soul even. The constant need to feel like you have to be more than you are, that somehow who you currently are in your current state is not enough. You know, you walk past the mirror and you look at yourself and you go, fuck, I'm ugly. My hair's too long. I'm too fat. I need to lose some weight. My clothes don't fit right. My clothes don't look right. I don't know how to do my makeup. My beard's all wrong. Is my skin tone too dark? Is my skin tone too light? There's so many absolute nonsensical bullshit ideas that come through our head and thoughts that pop through our head when we start looking at ourselves critically. And a lot of it's to do with all of those outside influences I was talking about. We allow them to really dictate how we view worth, how we view value, how we view importance. We never look in the mirror, or at least most people don't very often, look in the mirror and say, am I happy today? Wow, you look happy. You look like you're going to have a great day. We don't do that. We look in the mirror and we look for our imperfections. Our hair's not quite right. Like, I have to admit, before doing this, because I am doing this on video as well for YouTube and social media, in case you're listening to the audio only version, I actually spent a few minutes doing my hair before this because I'm on video, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but whatever. But why did I care? Like, who cares what my hair looks like? My hair isn't the message that I'm trying to give to you guys today. My hair isn't part of who I am as a person. It's not part of what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to share, part of my experiences. My hair is just my hair. My hair ultimately should matter about as much as what color socks I wear. But yet, I never leave the house without making sure it looks good or put on a hat. A lesson that I have really tried to dive into and really teach myself over this last 2 years, but the last year for sure, is that I am enough exactly as I am, who I am, and all of my potential. However much I achieve or don't achieve of that potential, that's enough. As long as I am happy. As long as I'm truly happy and those who I care the most about are taken care of. Why does anything else matter? Why does it matter what I drive? Why does it matter what brand is on my clothing? It really doesn't. It makes no difference at all. What you drive should only be determined by the utility use that you need for that vehicle. Do you need 4 seats? Get a 4-seater. You got a big family like me? You get an SUV. But we put so much importance on these things. So I've been doing a lot of work, and as I said, and one of the things that I have found to be very helpful is to actually look at all of the things that I have already accomplished. All of the things I've already done in my life. Now, as many of you know, if not most of you, I wrote a book this year. Well, I wrote it last year, but I finished it this year, and as I said, it's being published in a couple days. So my book is called Go Love Yourself. The tagline is how to reignite the spark in the most important relationship of your life. Now that relationship, of course, is the relationship you have with yourself. That's your relationship with you. It's your internal relationship, your internal dialogue, your self-love, your self-care, and how you truly see yourself, your self-image. While working on that book, I started writing my story because I wanted to share with you guys some moments from my darkest days, just to show you that I've been there too. So I know what it feels like to be on the verge of committing suicide. I know what it feels like to wake up every day and hate yourself and despise everything you can be. And in fact, not to give away much of my book, but in my book I even put it in the format that I was mad at my own future potential because how dare I? I thought I was so worthless that how dare my future potential be someone amazing? And that pissed me off. So as I was reviewing my story and as I was going through all those emotions, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, of course, because that was my goal for last year, thinking about how to truly appreciate my value and my worth as who I am now. It put it all in perspective. If the version of me from 15 years ago or so, when the events in the beginning of my book took place, when I was in my dark pit, long before I met my wife and had everything I have today, my beautiful family and everything. If that version of me met me today, I wouldn't believe it. I would look up at today's me, go, how the hell did you do that? How the hell did you get from here to there? And when I realized that, and I realized that everybody, I guarantee you everybody can do the same thing. Everybody can look into their past to before where they got to where they are today and ask, how did you get there? How did you do that? You went from not having much or being in a tough spot or not really caring about yourself too much to who you are now. And now if that version of you today doesn't make the version of you from before, when you were at your lowest, if your version of you today doesn't make you feel like, wow, that person's amazing, I can't wait to get there, well, then that means you're still in the process of doing the work. We all are. But when you're in your deepest pit and you're trying to get out, there's a lot of work to be done. And the work never ends. I'm still working on myself every single day. I still have my down parts. I still have occasional struggles with anxiety, anger, just overwhelmed. It happens to everybody, right? That's part of the human condition. But if you're still in that spot where you're looking up and you're like, oh, the version of me today is not that exciting to the version of me yesterday. Well, who do you want it to be? Who do you want today's version of you to be? And that's who you just need to try to work to become. What traits are there about the version of you from tomorrow that you want to be? What version of you can you look forward to in a year from now that you today is going to look at and go, holy crap, that's me. I did that. I can do that. I accomplished all those things. Now, it's not about necessarily what that person did, what that version of you did. It's about the traits and the characteristics and the personality and just everything that that version of you is capable of versus today. So maybe that means you need to become a little bit more outgoing. Maybe you need to be a little bit more focused. Perhaps it is as simple as you need to be more adventurous. You need to try new foods, try new things. You need to get out more. You need to say hi to a stranger. Those traits are what make a person who can accomplish what they want. So a little exercise for you today, because you know I love assigning homework. Take out a pen and paper, and I want you to do a little armchair exercise, I like to call it, where you just sit down and you close your eyes and imagine yourself 1 year from now. Now imagine you just had the perfect year. Your past year was flawless. Everything that can happen right happened right. Everything that you want to accomplish over the next year, you did. Now I want you to write that person down. Imagine you are a year from now looking back going, man, last year was awesome. I can't believe all the things I did. I can't believe all the things I accomplished. So take that pen and paper and write that down. Just go crazy. You can go big. It doesn't matter, right? If part of your goal is to, strike it rich and join Jeff Bezos on a trip around the planet or in space, write it down, whatever, because the actual events in the end you're going to see are not what's important. So just write it down. Man, looking back, this is me standing here in 2023, looking back at my year of 2022, and it was epic. It was amazing. I hit all of my goals, all of my achievements. I learned new things, did new things I didn't think possible. I grew as a person. I can't believe how far I came. Look at what I did. And write it down. Now after you've done that, so obviously you pause this and go do it or write it down to do later. But after you've done that, I want you to look at all those accomplishments again, but not at the accomplishments themselves. I want you to look at the kind of person that you'd have to be in order to achieve those. Like, what kind of person is able to hit that goal? What kind of person is able to lose that weight, quit smoking, ask for a raise, or be brave and quit and go find a better job? What kind of person is able to ask the pretty girl to dance? Whatever your goal is, whatever the accomplishment is, whatever you wanted to achieve in the next year, what kind of traits would the version of you who is capable of doing that easily, what kind of traits would that person have? And what's different between you and a person with those traits? Why don't you have those traits? What's stopping you from having those traits? See, that's the third part. If one of the traits is confidence, future me had confidence. That's why he was able to go and ask the pretty girl to dance. Future me had confidence. That's why she was able to go and ask my boss for a raise. What's stopping you from having that confidence? I mean, it's a trick question, because obviously I have a pretty good idea of what it is. And I'm sure you might even be having that ringing in your head a little bit too from previous episodes or talks, or if you listen to this podcast, chances are you listen to other podcasts and books and you have an idea. And it's two words that I believe are the biggest detriment to all of humanity on an individual basis and on a global basis. And that is limiting beliefs. We tell ourselves little lies about what we can and cannot do. And then we base our entire reality, our entire lives, off of these lies being fact. So one of them might be something as simple as, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm incapable of being loved, I could never do that, I'm too dumb, I'm too fat, I can't do it, I'm just me, I don't come from enough money, I don't have the right connections, this is too hard for me. Now we all do that. I have my own set of limiting beliefs. In fact, every time that I break down a wall and eliminate a set of beliefs, I realize that set of beliefs was actually fed by another set of beliefs that I didn't even know existed. In fact, I had an amazing breakthrough session with a coach, because yes, even coaches go to coaches, with a coach back in January, and she's amazing. I'll post some stuff to her if she's listening. Shanila Khan, you're fucking phenomenal. I'll post a link to her stuff somewhere on one of my platforms. But she really helped me realize that I had this limiting belief about being accepted that I didn't even realize that I had, and it was that I wasn't worthy of being accepted as I am. That I had to have everything polished and perfect before releasing it to the public, which a lot of my content, if you look back at my content, you can kind of see that I was struggling with that, because a lot of it I tried to make it perfect as I was going along. Even this podcast, I normally would script it. I had a lot of it was scripted, and I had to read off a script. I have notes today, but I'm kind of just going free here. And I realized that actually had stemmed not just from my need to be perfect, not from my need for other people to see me as perfect, but it stemmed from a need for those closest to me to be supporting me and agreeing with what I'm doing. Like I was putting too much value on what my closest friends and family thought about everything I did. So as I was releasing content, as I was doing anything, I was looking at it through that lens. Well, what are they going to think about this? What are my friends going to think about this? What would my family say about this? Instead of just doing what I wanted to do. And it's really ironic, because I've actually given that advice. I don't like the word advice, but I have led clients in that same direction, right? So in my coaching programs, I've actually led clients down the path for them to find that themselves, to realize that they're doing that themselves, that they're relying on the fear of what others might think of them, especially those closest to them, when they go after their dreams and goals or try to do something new or try to create. But it's funny how something can be right in front of you and you don't notice it, but if it's in front of somebody else, you can see it. The famous mystic and guru, yogi, his name's Sadhguru. He's out of India. I'm going to completely screw this up, but he says something along the lines of, it's like bad breath. So if you don't brush your teeth for a few days, maybe a week or two, your breath's going to start to stink. Now, you might not notice it because it's not going to start stinking instantly. It's not going to be like, and it stinks. It's going to come on slowly. You're going to get used to it and used to it. Now, even though your mouth is right below your nose, so you think you'd smell it all, you don't. You have no idea. But then you go into a room full of people. Instantly, every single person in that room knows that your breath stinks. Everybody knows. Because it's easy to see something wrong. It's easy to see a problem with another person. It's easy to look outwards and say, that's not right, you got to fix that. But it's so hard to look inwards and realize, maybe I should go brush my teeth. Or at least take a Tic Tac before I go out in public. And that's exactly how it works with our own limiting beliefs. We don't really see that we have them. So it makes it hard. So when we want to really work on accepting ourselves for who we are, how we are right now, we have to do some deep work into limiting beliefs and figure out why we feel this way about ourselves now. What is it that's stopping us from just going, I'm fucking awesome? Like, what's holding us back? What is in the way? What's the roadblock? Everybody has a roadblock. What is yours? So I'm going to go into way more depth in another future episode about limiting beliefs and how to start finding a couple, have them start popping up a little bit at you and help you figure out what yours might be, at least a starting point. But that's all I have for you today for right now for this first episode. Not sure how we're doing on the timing here, but it feels like it's, at least it was longer than previous episodes, and I'm going to keep going to try to give as much value per episode as possible. So a couple closing remarks. First off, so happy to be back here speaking with you guys again. I am looking forward to doing my next episode. So this one's number 21. I'm looking forward to number 22. I'm looking forward to number 122. And I'm going to try to pump these out on a regular basis, nonstop, without any interruptions. Obviously, keep up with all my social media. You can find me on most platforms at The Coach Cowan. I also have a Beacons page. So if you go to beacons.ai, so that's beacons.ai/The Coach Cowan, the links for everything that I have and everything I do is right there, including where to get my book, when it's coming out, the official launch date, all my social medias. You can join my mailing list. I have actually started a newsletter that I've been sending out. So if you want to be getting things in your inbox from me every so often, go on there and sign up, opt in. And my book, of course, Go Love Yourself. It's coming out on April 11th on Amazon. It is going to be available in paperback and ebook. I'm hoping to have the hardcover version fully optimized and ready to go then too. It's a little bit of formatting, still working with the publisher on that one. But paperback and ebook absolutely will be released on April 11th on Amazon worldwide. Follow for all the links on that. And I guess that's it for today, guys. So I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single time, because why change what works? If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Cheers, warriors.